What is going on, everybody? He is I'm him, it's your main man, Chi, back at it again with another episode of So in the Meantime. This one is going to be it's a quick take, but not really a quick take. I say it's a quick take because I have so many rapid fire topics, but it's going to be kind of it might be stretched out once we get to the tail end of this episode. So let's start off. I'm not going to do my check-in right now. I'm actually saving my check-in for later. There's a reason why behind that. But I did this with NFL, so I decided that I'd do it with the sport that I love the most, which is basketball. The NBA season starts next week, October 18th, the season opener. The headline game, obviously, if you don't know, is the Golden State Warriors, the defending champs, having their banner and ring ceremony, going against my Lakers. Yeah. But as I did with the NFL, I had my top 5 stories that I'm looking forward to this season, and I'm doing the same thing with the NBA as well. So, speaking of the Warriors, that's my 5th story that I'm looking forward to is, can the Warriors repeat this season? Last week we seen the turmoil, the drama, the locker room fight, if you want to say that, between Draymond Green and Jordan Poole. I just read that Draymond is going to be taking some time away from the team. It appears though as if this might be Draymond Green's last run with the Warriors after this season. So I know a lot of people are wondering and speculating, where will Draymond go? I know a lot of people have this idea that Draymond will somehow be in the Lakers organization because of LeBron, but I don't see that happening per se. Be interesting to see what happens with that though. Another thing that I have going inside with the Golden State Warriors is, will we see Klay back to his old ways? I mean, last season, Klay came back about midway point through the season, if not towards the end of the season. Are we going to see the Klay Thompson that we remember from years back? You know, that's something that I'm kind of interested in seeing. So it's going to be interesting to keep your eyes on Golden State. I know a lot of people don't have the Warriors coming out of the West. Some people are projecting them to be battling for the 8th seed in the West. So that's going to be very interesting to see. Number 4. I've been talking about this man for the past 2 episodes. How will the Boston Celtics do without their head coach, Ime Udoka? It was announced during the press conference of his suspension that Joe Mazzulla, he would be named the interim coach while Ime Udoka's out for the season. Not going to get into the Ime Udoka drama. I'm going to keep that off of this episode because more stuff has come out, but this is not where I'm going to address it. But I want to see how they're going to fare out with Joe Mazzulla as the head coach for this season. Number 3, Brooklyn. Just the drama in Brooklyn. What's going to happen with the Brooklyn Nets? Will Kyrie stay in Brooklyn, or is he going to get traded during the season? How will Ben Simmons fare out with this team? Can KD actually lead this team to the promised land, as many people think he is the best player in the world? Is he able to actually fulfill this legacy that he wants, to cement his legacy? He's a Hall of Fame bound player, but can he do what a lot of people think he can't do, which is lead a team to the finals by himself with his own cast? So that's my number 3 story. Number 2, with the Clippers. That's right. I'm speaking about the goddamn Clippers. Will the Clippers and this, I can't even like really come out to really say this, but I wrote it, so I have to say it. Will the Clippers be the new kings of LA? That's a lot of talk that I've been hearing a lot lately. Like the Clippers, this is the Clippers' time. You know, we've heard this conversation numerous times. Like, oh, this is the Clippers' time. This is the Clippers' year. We heard this when Lob City was there. We heard this when Kawhi first got there. We heard it every year. It's the Clippers' time, and every year, the Clippers clip. They clip. And I say this to both my cameras because I'm very, listen, I've said this about the Clippers. The Clippers remind me of the Cowboys. What can go wrong will go wrong. And the Clippers will clip. Will Kawhi stay healthy? Will Kawhi play 70 games? Will Paul George play 70 games? John Wall. I know a lot of people are so hyped. I'm excited to see John Wall. I haven't seen John Wall. We haven't seen John Wall play in a very long time. So I'm very interested to see that. But it's the Clippers. It's the Clippers. You're not making nothing. You'll make it to the playoffs. Make it to the playoffs. But even if y'all win a chip, y'all won't be the kings of LA. Because the kings of LA is my number one story going into the NBA season. And that's the Lakers. What is the Lakers gonna do? I mean, there's so much story revolving around my organization. We got LeBron James on the cusp. He is 1,325 points away from tying Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and then passing him this season. I just read a ESPN article that they said that if he keeps on path with the way he was performing last year, he will pass them in April. It's a game against Toronto. That they said that will be the game that will be the him passing it. So we have that in store. We have the biggest story of them all. I mean, I'm in a group chat with my cousin and my brother. I'm in another group chat with my other two cousins. I talk to a lot of people because they all know I'm a Laker fan, and I tell everybody, like everyone knows, AD's health is the key to our success. That's flat. That's as plain as I can say it. AD's health is the key to our success, and the key to us winning a championship is his health. Last night, I think they said he had 26 in the first half of the first quarter. AD looks like he's ready. You know, I know I've seen Kevin Garnett say that he wants to see Anthony Davis take over and be the MVP. Darvin Ham as his coach, we seen Darvin Ham as an assistant in Milwaukee. And we all know Giannis is arguably the best player in the game right now. Anthony Davis, to me, is a better skilled player than Giannis is because AD knows how to push the ball up. He knows how to handle the ball. I mean, we all know AD's story. AD was a point guard when he was in high school, and now he's a power forward, almost a center. So he still has the ball handling skills of a point guard, and he can shoot. You know, he just has to stay healthy. How will Darvin Ham's coaching style work with Russ? Because we all know he's a defensive-minded coach. We all know Russ don't play defense. And speaking of Russ, is Russ going to stay with the Lakers? I was very hard on Russ during the season last year because, you know, I wanted Russ in LA, but seeing how this experiment failed the first go-around, I want to see how this plays out this time. Is Russ willing to sacrifice? Is Russ willing to accept a role that he's not comfortable in? You know, all the greats at one point in time had to do that. I mean, Melo had to sacrifice being the star player to be a role player. Allen Iverson, we all know Allen Iverson's story. It appeared though as if he didn't want to accept the role of being a role player. So very interesting to see what happens with the NBA with the Lakers this year. There's other stories too that I had in mind, but these are my top 5. I mean, we got to take into account Milwaukee. What's going to happen with Milwaukee? It's what's Philly going to do? Philly is in a position where you got a healthy James Harden who's lost apparently 100 pounds. So I don't believe that, but we'll see how that plays out. We still got the Nuggets, who is a contender. And yes, I said the Nuggets, Brandon, so you can simmer down. You finally get your player back who's been gone for 3 years. So congratulations. But nah, and we got the Pelicans too, man. Pelicans look like they are a scary team this year. But that's it for my sports. That's it for right now for my sports, because there is something that I want to touch on a little bit later, but we're going to pivot. We're going to go into another thing. Y'all remember my Wakanda Forever reaction trailer that I did? Well, last week they released the second installment of the trailer, and let me tell y'all something. I am ecstatic for this movie in November, a month and a day from today. I'm recording this on October 10th. The movie comes out November 11th. I'm excited. I'm trying to figure out when I'm going to see it. Am I going to see it that Friday? Am I going to see it over the weekend? I plan on seeing it within those days. But I'm so excited for this movie. I know I'm going to be emotional watching it, but they did reveal, they did show, they nipped all the rumors in the butt. Shuri is the Black Panther. So everybody that was trying to figure out who the Black Panther was going to be, where they bring it back, Killmonger, no, it doesn't look like it unless they really are keeping that under a tight lip. But it appears though as if Shuri is the Black Panther for this movie. Once again, I have to talk about who I think is going to be the standout for this movie, and that is Angela Bassett, Queen Mother. She, I think, is going to destroy this role. I mean, I'm not going to say it's going to be Academy Award performance level. I mean, it's Angela Bassett. She can do it. She's one of the GOATs. But I just think that she's really going to steal the show, okay? So when I say kill, I think that she's going to be one of the focal points. I think she's going to be very pivotal in the story of this sequel. And then we have the question that has been circulating pretty much since the movie was, the first trailer was released, and leading up, because we're getting closer and closer to it. And that's the question of recasting T'Challa. Okay, we all know Chadwick Boseman. We all loved him as T'Challa. We all loved him, period. But there's been talks, there's been rumors that they will be recasting, or they want to recast Black Panther. I know some people were trying to start a petition or whatever to get Black Panther recast, to get T'Challa recast. And I talked about it in the first reaction video, where I, thought that they should, because, I mean, when you're introducing a multiverse, there is different variants of T'Challa. We all know this. If you follow the comics, we all know that. But I want to play y'all real quick a clip that Winston Duke, who played M'Baku, he was recently on Jamel Hill's Unbothered podcast, and he was speaking on, she asked him a question about the recasting of T'Challa, and I just want y'all to listen to what he has to say, and I'm going to give y'all my thoughts on the matter itself.
I'm of the opinion they should recast T'Challa. How do you feel about potentially that role being recast?
I think for this iteration of Black Panther, it's very hard for me to like really comment on something like that because, you know, I'm of the mind that this is Chadwick's role. Chadwick created this, and Black Panther wouldn't be the same without Chadwick Boseman, who stood for the things that he stood for. When you cast a person, you're also casting their experiences, you're casting their politics, you're casting all these things. Black Panther was heavily defined by the actor that did it, in my opinion. So I feel that as is, and the decision that's been made to keep T'Challa, Chadwick Boseman's T'Challa, is one that has a lot of nobility in it. But you also have to, there's a level of trust that I think we should all have for a comic book world. For a comic book world that has multiple dimensions and parallel dimensions and multiple stories and possible futures and possible reimaginations in the past and just multiple universes that they're actually experimenting with. So I feel my level of trust is that the medium can support a diversity of interpretations that can actually make us all happy.
So, I agree with majority of what he said. I mean, I understand for him, replacing Chadwick would be hard for him, you know, with him being so close with Chadwick. We all know leading up to the filming of the first Black Panther, everyone was so close. Everybody enjoyed and loved the camaraderie of that cast. Everybody, you know, it was a feel-good moment in history, you know. And when they were recording or when they were shooting Wakanda Forever, we all heard the stories. We all heard everyone speak on how it was this level of a void missing. Like everything they did was in honor or in tribute to Chadwick, and Chadwick's presence was there. But when they got to parts of speaking on T'Challa, it got emotional for them. But as he said, you know, there's different variants, there's different multiverses, all this stuff. So he's trusting in that, you know, if they do this, they will do a good job, and we just have to kind of accept that. And that's what I'm willing to do, too. I'm willing to accept this, but I can't wait. November 11th, cannot wait for that movie to drop. So, Netflix this past Friday released the highly anticipated documentary, The Redeem Team. It is the documentary that we all been looking forward to since the announcement of it a month or two ago. They talked about it, but we were hearing rumbles of this documentary coming out that chronicalized the events of the 2008 Olympic men's basketball team, well known as the Redeem Team. And normally I do like separate videos where I do my reactions or my reviews to these movies and stuff that I watch, but I decided to kind of, because it's real quick, you know, the stuff I want to talk about, it's not a lengthy review that I want to do. So the one thing that I would say about this documentary is I really appreciated the behind-the-scenes look at how this team, these players, embodied the mentality of the Mamba. Kobe's mentality, Kobe's work ethic. I remember when Chris Bosh got inducted in the Hall of Fame, and he told a Kobe story, and he talked about the Olympics, and he talked about how he was going downstairs to eat breakfast, and he happened to see Kobe was in the lobby eating breakfast in a pool of sweat. It's like, when did you get up? He was like, Kobe said, I've been up since 4:30, and they talked about that, and LeBron was speaking on it. Everybody was just like, yo, like, I can't, what? But they seen how intense he was. They seen how he was just so, we all know Kobe. We've all heard the stories of Kobe and his practice and his work ethic, and it's just how much he was a student of the game. And then they seen the same thing, so they started doing the same thing that Kobe was doing. You started seeing LeBron, Chris Paul, Wade, Bosh, all of them going down there. The only one you didn't see down there was Melo, because Melo was like, it's 4:30, it's too early, I'm staying in bed. Like, that's the only one that wasn't really up for the 4:30 practice or the 4:30 workouts. But you see how it was about the Redeem Team, but I also feel though as if it was also showing and shedding light of the true essence of the Mamba mentality. And also speaking of Mamba, it gets hard when you watch documentaries now. Like, I've been watching the Lakers Legacy documentary. The season finale, the 10th installment, is actually today. I'm going to watch it probably later on today, or I'm going to watch it tomorrow. But watching these documentaries post Kobe's death, and you see just, this one really showed a lot to me, because you see how Kobe was, this was right after they lost the finals to the Celtics. And I feel like it was this moment right here where you seen the shift in Kobe's mindset, the shift in how Kobe treated his teammates. And I think that was from him being with this Redeem Team. He started to open up more. He started to be more joking and just filled with more happiness. A lot of people thought that Kobe was just this mean, evil, stubborn, selfish player, but he just wanted the best out of people. And if you wasn't working as hard as he was, or if not harder than him, he didn't consider you worth his time. So it was good to see that. One of my favorite moments is, I know LeBron shows it a lot on Kobe's birthday, was when they showed them celebrating Kobe's birthday. They were singing happy birthday to him, and LeBron was leading the happy birthday song. And they were saying how Kobe was kind of like, he didn't want no celebration, don't celebrate nothing for me, but they still did. And you seen that Kobe was genuinely happy for them to do that. It's really good to see those moments. Like, when I was watching the Lakers Legacy documentary, the 9th installment, that was the one that really got me. It had me in tears, because you just see his retirement game, and you see the stories, like you're hearing Vanessa and them, but they're talking about him. It's weird to still hear people talk about Kobe in the past tense. It still hits me. And when they won the gold and on the Redeem documentary, seeing, Kobe with his kids, and, especially Gianna, because that was we all know how he was with Gigi, but it was very, very nice to see that. So if you haven't checked it out already, make sure you check out the Redeem Team on Netflix. Definitely worth it. Definitely worth it. Okay. I didn't want to talk about this. I did not want to talk about this. Leading up to recording this episode, this was Thursday. And my videographer asked me if I was going to talk about Kanye West. And I told him I didn't want to give Kanye any more attention than what he's gotten, because that's what Kanye wants. But then I started thinking about it. And with the more recent events that he has done, the more recent things that he has said, especially what he said over the weekend in regards to the Jewish community. What Kanye is doing right now is he's walking a very dangerous line. If you don't know by now, last week Kanye West was in Paris for Fashion Week and sparked the world, created controversy because he happened to be wearing a White Lives Matter shirt. And not only did he have the shirt on, but everyone's favorite person, Candace Owens, happened to be donning the shirt as well. And when they did this, the first thing that came to my mind, I was sitting in this studio when I seen it. I was sitting in the studio. I wasn't here, but I was over at the production table, and I seen it, and the first thing that came to my mind was, what would Donda have to say about this? Like, if Donda can come down in his dreams and talk to him, what exactly would she say to Kanye about what he did? About wearing this shirt, seeing though as if your mother was very much highly pro-black, woman who was a part of the civil rights movement and was just so. If you watched his Netflix special, you just seen how much influence his mom had on him, how much his mother was just the essence of like a black mother. And to see him now wearing this shirt, and we all know that Kanye does a lot of stuff when something's coming out, when he has either music coming or sneak anything. When Kanye has something coming out, he loves to spark controversy and do all this stuff. But I think with the shirt he wore, that's where a lot of people drew the line. And then he proceeded to, because the music industry reacted to this. Various people. Lil Boosie says something about it, which Kanye then replied to Lil Boosie in a way that really made it seem though as if he was making threats without making threats. He showcased the text thread between him and Diddy. I know Meek had tweeted about it. Everyone in the industry, with probably the exception of maybe Hove, have said something outright about it. And Kanye obviously went on his rant about how, well, why wasn't y'all, y'all weren't saying nothing. Y'all wasn't there for me when I was fighting for my kids, to see my kids. That's family business. That's your problem that you deal with. Because, we've seen so many other people have custody battles and things like that, and we're not jumping and saying like they need to. We're not getting into that because that's your family business. What you did was you took it upon yourself, this platform that you have, to say to spew this message. And not only did he do that, but then he showed up on Tucker Carlson's show, and I was watching a little bit of it. And like the 8 minutes that I was watching of it, I felt disgusted, because I'm just watching this man spew this rhetoric and push this narrative that the Trump supporters and that side of the world pushes. And we have to get better, or we have to kind of put a end to this, because it's going to get uglier than it already is. And, if you haven't seen the tweet that Ye did over the weekend when he was talking about the Jewish community, it has been taken down since, but we all know that in the world of the internet, nothing really stays down. So if you happen to see it, I have it. I may or may not post it like right here. But I used to, if y'all had seen past episodes, I remember the one particular episode I did with my brother and Tamara, when we were talking about the Kanye documentary, and I said that I can relate to Kanye to some degree. But this right here is just, this is where I draw the line. And I'm checking out and walking away from Kanye as a person. I mean, I used to say all the time, I went how many albums? I think I went 2-3 albums before actually listening to Kanye again. Like, my Dark Twisted Fantasy was, I think, was it? And then that might have been the last album that I actually really listened to. And then everything else was kind of in spurts. And then the Donda album is one that I really, really said that, like, I loved that album, and it hurts that I won't be listening to that anymore. But one of my favorite people in the world, Joe Budden, said it best, man. I'm more worried about Kanye's mental. Like, are you okay? That's the big thing. And I remember I posted that on my Instagram a while ago, like probably when he was doing his antics about slavery was a choice, and he was spewing all that. But then there's Dame. And I was on Instagram, and I seen Dame had talked about it, and Dame said, when Kanye does stuff like this, I initially get mad, but then I ask myself, how's he doing mentally? Because he knows Kanye better than most people do. And his big thing is just always make sure that his mental is okay. And we all know that Kanye is bipolar. He's been on record saying it. He's, he's been on record saying that he's not taking his medicine. So we know this. We also know that Kanye is in a position now where Kanye is wanting acceptance from the white community. And he does what a lot of people do. OJ's done it. Tiger did it. you know, where you turn your back on the community, but then the minute all falls down, no pun intended, you turn around and you reach out for us to be the ones to lift you up. Because the one thing I'll say about the Black community is, even if you do wrong by us, we still find a way to show you grace and show you mercy. And we accept you back in and we do this. But I don't think that that's going to happen this time. I really don't. I do not think that that's going to happen. I think that Kanye has burned his bridges with the community. I know there's one person in particular who's going to watch this video. We kind of, we didn't go at it. We didn't go at it. But he's a Kanye supporter. And I know he's probably watching this, having a lot to say. But at one point, even he said, you know, he might have to walk away from Ye, but I don't think that he is, you know. But listen, all I'm saying is Kanye's walking a dangerous line. And Kanye needs to think about what he's doing, because you're rallying a troop, you're rallying a group of people that is centered around hate. And they're going to basically use you. And once they are done with you, they're leaving you to the wayside. I mean, Candace Owens, they're doing the same with her. Yeah, that's all I have to say about Kanye and all that for now. But before I end this, I want to dive into my check-in. I told y'all I was going to do my check-in last because a couple episodes ago, I told y'all that I wanted to embark on this journey with y'all. I'd take y'all through my journey, and I told y'all about my therapy that I was going to be having soon. And I had that last week. And when I tell you that this session had me at the end of it, when I got done and I was sitting there just thinking about everything, it was emotional for me. I talked to my mom about it, you know, and she asked me a question because I told her how I remember to the minute the day that, you know, my dad left. My mom didn't remember, so she wanted me to tell her. She wanted me to reflect on it because, you know, I talked to my therapist and I told my therapist how at one point it was like a 1-2 combination. It was like a 1-2 punch of having abandonment issues and that not feeling good enough. So that's like a 1-2 punch. But then there was something else that came across that was brought to my attention, in the fact that I suffer, I have anxiety attachment issues. Okay. So what happens with me is when I feel like a situation or a person that I'm communicating with, whether it is a relationship, a friendship, whatever, if it comes a point where there's a disconnect, where the conversation just abruptly stops, I get very anxious and I start to question a lot. I start to question, and I overthink too, so that's worse. So I overthink and I'm thinking and I'm replaying, like, did I say something wrong? Did I do something wrong? What is it that what happened that caused this disconnect? Now, as my therapist has told me, and I have to realize, understand, a lot of shit can happen between that time of separation or that time of not talking. But then what happens is I have that anxiety, have that anxiousness, then that doubt of being good enough creeps in my head, and then I feel abandoned. So when these three things kind of form itself, it brings like a lot of, not darkness, but it brings a lot of like lows. Okay. And it takes me back to when, my dad left. Because, when I first started therapy, my therapist had told me that I suffered from PTSD. And when she said that to me, I was like, I was so small-minded that I always thought PTSD related to the military. I didn't think everyone can suffer PTSD. And she was like, well, when your dad left, that was trauma for you. So any form of trauma that's happened in your past will be considered PTSD. So when she said that, it made more sense. It made more logical sense to me to be like, okay, that makes sense. I get it now. So now I'm trying to navigate and figure that out. And then the conversations that I have to have within myself, the conversation of the little kid in me. Everybody has an inner child. And the one thing that, once again, being small-minded, I thought when it was that inner child, I thought it was just everybody has to have that kid in them. Like, I'm a big kid at heart. Like, if you ever really been around me, I just love to laugh, have fun. I may not come off that way. That's why I say me and Kobe, in a sense, when it comes to our personal life, we're so like-minded because we kind of want to keep everything closed. We don't want to let everybody in a lot. But once you do get in, you'll get to see like, oh, he's a goofball. Like he loves laughing, having fun, joking, doing all types of stuff. He's a big kid at heart. That's what I was thinking. But she was like, no, everybody has an inner child that needs to get talked to because you need that reassurance. Because everybody, when they get in trouble or they're in any type of problem, they resort, not everyone, but majority of people resort to that inner child, to that kid, to the one that's kind of just walking on eggshells. They're nervous, whatever. And you just have to have conversation with that inner child in you. And I found a TikTok video that I posted a while ago. It's funny because my daughter's aunt laughed because it was a good video. It's actually might have it like right here as I'm talking, because he's not talking. He's just, you see the words of when you have a trauma with the inner child. And she was just saying like, it was weird how at the end he did the heart sign with his hands. Like he did that. So, but the video basically illustrates like how you know that you need to have a conversation with your inner child. Your inner child may be suffering. And that's something that I've been told recently. That's conversations that I've had with a few people that have told me like, you need to have this conversation. And I asked my therapist, like, how do I have the conversation with my inner child? Like, do I talk to myself? Do I journal? How do I do this? And she told me, you might have to have a conversation with yourself. You might have to journal, or you might, talk to your mom and your brother because they were there when that trauma happened. So, like I said, after that, I talked to my mom I rehashed to her the events that happened that day, and she, she didn't know that I remembered that, and I told her, I was like, this is, and I brought up the whole the anxious attachment issues that I have. I said this is why, like, I take, when people leave, when I have fallouts with people, why I take it to the heart, because I consider the people in my circle, I consider them family. Like, anyone that's in my inner circle, they are not my friends, they're my family. So when things like that happen, I take it to heart because I don't have that many people around me. So when I let you in, that means a lot. So that's why that's one of the things that I have to deal with and I have to battle with and get over. So yeah, that was my last therapy session. And then before I officially wrap this up, I have a message because I've been seeing a lot of this going on in the world, and speaking from behalf of a content creator, I want to speak to my fellow content creators. I've been seeing a lot of things on TikTok over the past month or so, and I've been meaning to do a video about this. But a lot of content creators have been recently speaking on their mental health. Today is actually, October 10th is actually National Mental Health Day. But I know a lot of content creators have spoke on stepping away from creating content as much, taking a break, taking like a cleansing, whatever you want to call it, but taking that time to separate themselves from the social media world because it gets a little crazy and it gets a little hectic. And as one content creator, to the rest of y'all that are watching this, if you are a content creator, if you are inspiring to be a content creator, don't let, and it's a hard thing. I mean, social media is it's a powerful thing. It's an evil thing. At some points, it can be a very positive thing. But don't let the negativity overshadow your success or what you're doing. There's a few people that I follow on TikTok that I eventually followed on Instagram and I followed on YouTube because what they do, their content, whether it is inspirational for me, it's inspiring because it's like, man, I want to get to where they are, or it's entertainment for me because it helps me get away from whatever it is I may be going through. Like Tyrone Magnus is someone I go to whenever I'm feeling like, whenever I'm in my little funks or whatever, I go to his channel on YouTube and I watch his videos, either his Try Not to Laughs or even the random vlog conversations he does with him and Scarlo, his girlfriend. They help me get through a lot. They help me, kind of just laugh, when I'm going through these dark times. And as a society, I can't be the one that's going to be like, oh, I'm going to change everybody and tell everybody stop doing this and they're going to listen to me, because everybody's going to still do what they want to do. I mean, I respond to people's comments on my videos that I do. I actually do. I've said this numerous times. I do know that there's a few comments that have been hitting certain videos that I haven't been able to respond to. So don't worry, I will get back to you with those. But then there's some that I just, if they have something negative to say, either I don't respond to those. Those are the only ones I really don't feed into because I don't want to have that back and forth because it's not worth my energy. We all have to protect our energy. I mean, that's what I'm all about. I've always been about energy. And I feel though as if us as a society and as people need to stop letting people have this power over you. You know, I say this a lot to a few, like anyone that I talk to that goes through something. A matter of fact, I was just talking to my daughter a couple weeks ago because I seen she was posting something on her Instagram, and you know, I'm hip to the subliminals, the little hidden jabs and things like that. I know when you throwing shots and you saying stuff like that. So I happen to be watching it when I'm watching her story and I'm seeing that, and I text her and I said, you know, what's your stories about? And she was like, oh, you know, people are just spreading rumors and they're saying this and the third about me. And I asked her a question. I said, it's funny. It's funny. I asked her, I said, are you a clown? She was like, no. I said, so why are you entertaining the circus? I said, why are you entertaining the circus? If you're not a clown, don't entertain the circus. That's what they want you to do. They want you to entertain them. You're better than that. I'm not raising you to entertain them. I'm raising you to be better than that, to move forward. If they don't physically do anything to cause a threat to you, you don't need to react to it, because it's just, this is what people do now. They hide behind computers. They hide behind their phones. They go away with saying all this stuff. But it doesn't matter. You know, it really doesn't. So for all the content creators out there, man, listen, continue to do what you do. Whatever it is that you're doing a good job at it. Keep it up. You know, keep pushing forward. Don't let the hate, don't let the comments, don't let what other people have to say ruin what makes you happy. Now, if you have to take time to, you know, kind of recharge and regroup, by all means do that. I do it all the time. Because what you don't want to do is you don't want to burn yourself out. You know, I know a lot of people that create content. They are consistently every single minute of the day, they're creating something, you know, and it burns them out and they get burned out too quick. If you need to take a moment to just relax, chill, do that, you know, because as a creator, your brain's always going to be thinking of something. So with that being said, if you like this video, make sure that you hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed to this page yet, go ahead and hit that little button that says subscribe. And if you haven't gotten notifications yet, because you haven't hit that bell, go ahead and hit that bell. Okay? Till next time, people, he is I'm him, it's your main man, Cheese, signing off. I am trying my hardest, because I have not had my brother on my podcast in a very long time. I'm trying to get my brother on the podcast. Okay? There's a lot that we need to talk about. Matter of fact, Tamara even hit me up and said that we need to collab again. So I'm trying to get something in the works, man. I'm trying. So you may not see him next time, but you will see him soon. Till then, I'm out.